my dollars make it hurt.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Commercial Real Estate Investing, the Black Edition, where we're here to discuss, collaborate collectively about investing in commercial real estate, the different sectors, office, industrial, retail, as well as some multifamily. As I said before, that, there's definitely a lot of information, but I'll definitely give my perspective on what I'm seeing. As, again, I believe there's always opportunity to invest. From my experience of and current what I do as a managing partner at Tenneco Commercial Real Estate Services, where we help, specifically, or we specialize specifically on helping tenants lease commercial space, so small, mid-sized businesses lease space in those several industries, minus the multifamily. And then we have in some instances where we have the help investors, which are mostly some smaller investors, invest in certain types of products like single-tenant and net lease deals, multifamily, stuff like that. So coming from that perspective, people are making money in each sector, and here lately I've been talking about office. And just kind of further today, just talk a little bit more. Depending on where you guys live, I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area again. And, every day when I first wake up, early in the morning, I'm looking and reading the news, articles, finding out what's going on, educating myself. Because the thing about, especially when investing or helping clients, knowledge is power. Data is key. And that helps make the best decisions for our clients and help us provide the best information for them, along with the stuff that we're doing on the ground firsthand. So with that being said, here recently, let me go back. When I talked about, opportunities that I see coming in office, I don't think office is going to go away. It's just going to change, just like anything. Retail is changing, multifamily is going to change. All this stuff has changed, right? Like especially when I'm in like multifamily, at one point in time, years back, everybody was moving to the suburbs, and then you start to see the gradual shift as the new age of millennials were coming in, and that demographic, live, and play, right? So a lot of them were moving closer to the urban areas, to the downtowns, and so you saw a huge migration of those individuals. But you got to keep in mind, real estate is cyclical, right? It goes in waves, it goes in cycles. So with that, you had now, with the pandemic, people working from home, want a little bit more flexibility. That particular workforce has gotten older. They want to have kids. You can't necessarily do that too much in the urban areas, in the downtown areas, right? It's just not enough space. Doesn't make enough sense financially. So where do they go? They go to the suburbs. And then so where do the employers go? They follow the talent. The talent is going to the suburbs. They're going to the suburbs. And then you just got a couple of things that's happening, which that relates to, when we're talking about office, where I think, like I said, it's not going away. Businesses are downsizing. If you look at the trends, as I said before, pay attention to the trends. When you start reading these articles, start listening to these calls, if you're not involved, in investing, of what these businesses are doing. And a lot of them are saying, they're still releasing office space. They may not be releasing as much. They are downsizing as they reevaluate how they want to use office. And a lot of the consensus is starting to turn to office is going to be more of a flex, as I say, a flex collabo, right? Or collaboration flex, either or. But basically what that means is that it's going to be probably almost like a hub and spoke in a sense. So you're going to have a main office where Individuals come in a couple of days out of the week, collaborate with their coworkers, and then some of the days they're going to work from home. And then for some, they're always going to come to the office. It just depends also what their role is in the business, and the functions of the business will depend on if they can do more working from home versus working in the office, right? If you saw some of the news, you saw some of the companies realize that, yeah, working from home was cool, but they realized that the productivity has started to decline. So they started requiring their employees to come back to the office, right? So I think, there's just going to be, work from home was already there. I don't think it's going away. I just think that, the percentage, say before, maybe it was 5% or so. Maybe it's going to jump to 10 to 12% of what's going to be required or allowed of the workforce to do that. So there's still going to be a need for office. Now, how much office? That's another thing. When I'm always looking at these large buildings, and you start looking at the vacancy rates of these buildings that have 400 to a million square feet of office space. But one thing I realize and understand, just looking at a lot of deals, looking at a lot of operating expenses, and helping businesses lease office space, when we get the opportunity to, that a lot of these office buildings are operating around 70% on average occupancy. So that's still a lot of unused space being used. And so with that being said, and you're going to have some of these companies reevaluating their space obligations, they're going to downsize some. Like some of the companies are downsizing, 10,000 square feet or so. They had like 30,000 square feet. But then again, you also have businesses that are growing, especially in media, advertising, tech, not so much so in, like law office and stuff like that in the financials. So they're kind of downsizing a little bit more. And it's just because of the technology change that's happening. So they don't necessarily need as much space as they needed before. But it does present an opportunity again, right? Because in some instances, what I believe would probably happen, especially like with your downtown buildings, and you kind of see it in some of the offering memorandums that come across my desk, is that they're converting this because there's so much space still available. They're looking for, more of a mixed use of the actual building. So the building is going to have a certain percentage of office and a good majority of residential, and then have somewhat of a luxury or type of hotel with inside of it. So you're going to basically have a couple of things going on that one side building to maximize the amount of space. Because again, like I said, you have a lot of these large buildings with a lot of vacancy in it. And then, preferably, in my opinion, the best ones are kind of like your mid-rise type of construction buildings that are more width than vertical, right? More podium, as they call them, because the floor plates are a lot larger. It allows you to have a lot better size of space, and allows the businesses to have a little bit better use of the space. So, I think those are kind of going to be ones that are the best opportunities to target. And then also, depending on where you are in your investment journey and your capacity to raise capital and things like that, definitely looking at buildings. And I had already thought about this before because I researched a company called WP Carey. They invest in net lease deals. Griffin Partners, they invest in net lease deals, and their whole thing was they targeted single tenant net lease office buildings, right? So buildings that were leased by maybe T-Mobile or some investment grade business that was publicly traded, or if it was private, they had a good financial stability, and then the business they were in was good as well. It was growing. But anyways, they targeting these particular buildings because they're going to basically have a tenant in there for, a long period of time. You still got maybe 10, 12 years on their lease. Give them time to, as they as that particular tenant prepares to move out, or if there was already vacant space, that they can go in and gradually um, update the spaces, update the building, and then once they eventually left, they were ready to go and to attract other businesses on a small footprint. So basically, it's taking the whole and breaking it into pieces, right? And so here recently, like you're in the DFW area, for those that pay attention to the news, um, Bill Carley, Partners, basically, him and another, I want to say it's Starbuck Capital. They recently purchased Saber's headquarters. Now, for those who don't know what Saber is the software company behind um, all the flight information for all the airlines. So I mean, their particular business, they're pretty much entrenched, right, in the airline industry. But nonetheless, um, Sabre has said that they're reevaluating their real estate footprint, and so they're downsizing. So they don't need as much space. I mean, their headquarters was about 470,000 square feet, and they're going to reduce to basically about 200,000. Um, but this presents opportunity because in the area that they have their business in, that area is becoming known for a lot of um, wealth management, and then tech industries are moving out that way, and they're in in the suburbs as well, and the income levels in that area, which equates to some of the talent that's available over in that area, is very high, and it's something that's being looked at. So for them, it kind of is a win-win. But like I said before, they're purchasing the building. It's pretty much fully occupied, besides some maybe 100,000 square feet, and they're going to go in and they're going to break it up into pieces, which trending and go after growing businesses that are looking to be in that area, since that area has been developing with those type of businesses that move in that area. So, like I said, researching initially just about buying, single tenant net lease office buildings. The guys from WP Carey, the guys from Griffin, they're buying these things at about 7 to 8% caps. And then once they, per their performance, looking to get out of it around 6. So just about a spread of maybe 100 basis points to 200 basis points, or basically 1 or 2%. So, I think there's going to be more opportunity in that. But again, with anything, it's all about understanding the market. We're all over the country. I don't know particularly what market you're in, but every day when it comes to if you're looking to invest in these things, every day you just gotta pay attention to the news, do your due diligence. One of the things I always suggest is always, when you're driving, coming from home, coming from work, wherever you're coming from, if you've been taking that same path, take a different route. And that way you just kind of get an idea and just start seeing things that you probably would have never seen before because you're just going on the same route every day. And that just kind of enlightens you. And then another thing is, always paying attention to planning and zone departments in your city, because that gives you an idea of what's coming, what people are trying to get rezoned for what type of projects that's not necessarily public at the moment, and then how does it relate to the opportunities that you're already looking at, whether that's office, industrial, retail, flex space, or medical or residential. But I think there's still going to be opportunity in office. I mean, my preference is more mid-rise than downtown buildings. If there was opportunity to come across that I can get, that makes sense. Just knowing what I know, and then knowing that, especially if you're trying to lease up space, a lot of businesses are still looking for, turnkey, not having to invest a lot of their dollars. They can move in real quick, especially if you're targeting more of your tech companies. From my experience, once they raise that capital, man, their growth can accelerate very, very quickly. So initially they made it started out with 2,000 square feet, maybe 1,000, and then as as they raise more capital, the product is a great product fit. They're gaining traction. I mean, that jumps immediately to 5,000 within 12 to 18 months, if not sooner. And then it doubles again, just like that, to 10,000 square feet. So, for a lot of those companies, they're looking for, sublease opportunities, which is quite a few still. Because again, a lot of the companies are downsizing, so they don't realize they don't need as much space. So that presented opportunities for a lot of your startups or your small businesses to get in on short-term leases in good areas where they can get talent, grow their business, be close to the amenities, have an offering to present to the talent of why they should come there, because of the amenities of the building, the amenities of the area. And then from there, on to the next location as they grow. So I think, looking in the suburbs, looking for opportunities there. I still look around, I still go with the philosophy of why should I buy what I'm buying? What's the competitive advantage over the other product? What's the opportunity or the thing I'm going in to fix to bring it up to that level? And competitive advantage. I'm looking for durable income long term. So, I'm thinking long term. My philosophy is kind of buy quality over quantity. I mean, there's people buying a whole bunch of stuff and they're just in it for a couple of years and they're out of it. I'm looking for more long term. Those of you who are on this channel, who are, who collaborate and provide ideas, you're gonna have a different philosophy as well. But that doesn't mean it's bad or good. It just means it's different. So I think there's opportunity in office, and next week I'm gonna start hitting on property, retail, flex space, to get my perspective on those particular opportunities, what I'm seeing in the market, and how we as a community can take advantage working together. So that's all I got, guys, for today. Thanks for showing up for Education Wednesdays. Let's keep this thing going. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment, provide feedback. Let's have a discussion. I'm always open for it. Because as I say before, working together is kind of my goal, to collaborate. Because I think, group economics is the best economics. I don't know everything, never will know everything. Investing is a long-term journey. There's so much stuff to learn. That's why you rely on other experts. But I still want to do my due diligence, at least understand what's going on. Because one thing you don't want to do is be taken advantage of, right? So, and then also lose your investors' money, along with your money. But the investors' money first, then your money. So, as always, you can go fast alone, or we can go further together. So, until next Wednesday, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, comment, feedback, all of the above. And let's continue to work together and work to take ownership of commercial real estate, build our net wealth, and grow. So until next time, happy investing. Talk to you guys later. These my dollars make it hurt.